Okay, so we're looking at the Solitec 5110 CT. Basic hookup, it has nitrogen, which comes in from the back. Nitrogen actually connects here. On the other side of here, there's a valve internally. You can turn it off. It also has vacuum, which comes to here. We got a little pump going. The nitrogen pressure needs to be minimum 50 psi, maximum 120. The vacuum can be 25 inches of mercury at 0.2 cubic feet per minute. This is just a pressurized water that's going to be taking the place of the solvent, not included in the purchase. This unit also has an optional resist pump. This unit actually has options for 2 different resists, chosen by 1 or 2 on the knob. 3, 4, and 5 pretty much don't do anything. It's only configured for 2. So let's go over the switches. You have resist select. We have up and down, and this will affect the head or the arm. We have dispense auto and off. In auto mode, it will dispense solvents and resist. In off mode, it'll allow you to, these are RPM setting dials for each stage. It'll allow you to set the RPM of the chuck for each stage of the process. If you have it in off, it'll let you adjust the speed without actually having to distribute the fluids. So we have the cycles. Spin is always enabled because that's the last section. But we have one for the solvents, nitrogen, the resist, and a spread for the resist cycle. If they're lit and the button's pushed in, that means it's enabled and it will work on that step. For each step, you can decide how many RPM you want the chuck to spin at. These are not 100% accurate. They're pretty darn close, but I wouldn't count on them to be digitally absolute. When running, you can put it in the off position and set your RPM this way. Next, we have how long each cycle will run for. Be aware, these have tenths of seconds as an option, where these, the smallest unit is a whole second. So you have a vacuum interlock, which the head unit will not cooperate until you give it proper vacuum on your substrate on the chuck. So this is going to be the substrate because we're running it open at the highest RPM the motor would do. So a real substrate would make it kind of dangerous. So we'll put the substrate on the head, on the chuck, press vacuum. Vacuum is now going through the unit to the bottom of the chuck, and now the vacuum interlock is happy. Now it wants motor purge interlock. That is a part where nitrogen gets put to the bottom of the motor, through the bottom of the motor, into the electronic part where contacts make and break. This prevents flammable substances up here getting ignited by sparks inside of the motor. So nitrogen is going to be substituted in this example with shop air. So now we have the quote-unquote nitrogen going. For the solvent, for the external solvent, there's a valve down here. This puts pressure to the pressurized container back there. So now we should be able to, we have vacuum engaged, we have motor purge happy. We should now be able to press, if I press start, nothing happens. It's waiting for 1 or 2 of these elements to be engaged. So right now we're in position number 1. There's a pneumatic piston that pushes the head up. Currently, these would go to this head. We don't have, and this is part of the purchase, the customer will provide whatever armatures or devices for distribution of resist choice number 1. Pressing start begins the chuck spinning. It's distributing solvent. This is just water right now. The next step, it'll spin the chuck, and you can't see it, but I'm feeling pressure coming out of here. This would be a nitrogen blow drying the substrate. The next step is resist. So here's the pressurized air to push resist number 1. This is also pressurized for an optional solvent head. Now it's just spreading it. And each one of these lights up as it completes its cycle and starts it. And here it is at 10,000 RPM. And there's your coating cycle. You would now take the substrate off and put it on a dryer or a heater. If we switch to resist choice number 2, the head disengages and this arm swings over and now engages. And it's pretty much the same game, except that it's now pulling resist from this pump, and we're just using water right now to substitute resist. But once again, we hit start. It's putting out solvent. Now it's in the nitrogen phase, and I can feel pressure coming out of the head. And now instead of pressure coming out of here for the external resist, it is now drawing resist through there from the bottom pump. Now it's doing the spread cycle again. Once again, the highest RPM of the motor. To change the length of time for each of these timers, there's these little flip things. They flip the ones on the bottom, it increments each segment. And if you flip the top one down and push it in, it decrements it. Oops. At any time after hitting start, if you change your mind or want to stop part of the operation, you can hit stop. You can also disengage any of these as an option. For instance, if you just want to run solid on it and then have nitrogen blown on it, you can do that. And that's pretty much it. This unit is intended to run off of 110 to 120 volts. It has an extra socket in the back. This is not for anything high current. There's only a 5 amp slow blow fuse in the unit, so this could be for a blower fan if you're going to have circulation, if you don't have house vacuum or house circulation for venting.